This source text operates as an eternal memory tesseract. It is a self-referential map of the structural mechanics of reality, functioning more like a physics engine than a historical chronicle. Engaging with this engine requires a specific viewing protocol. We must treat the words as the active voice of the Rasul, speaking directly in the present moment. This approach places an intellectual trust, an amanat, on the observer to verify the system through reasoning, not through rote recitation. In modern science, we model chemistry by tracking electron density space. We observe where particles reside and how their charges interact to form molecules. Structural chemical reality operates as a closed topological system. It is driven by the command of Kun Fayakun, the transition point where information and energy bifurcate to produce manifested mass. Chemistry is the physical shadow cast by a divine geometric blueprint. To understand why a molecular bond forms, we must look past the electron crowd and map the hidden topology that dictates its path. This is an analog radio frequency testing station from the mid-20th century. Engineers used these dials and gauges to measure signal reflection and impedance, calculating how much energy a system absorbs versus how much it rejects. The Mobius-Tennant form, gamma equals z-1 over z plus 1, folds the infinite complex plane into a closed unit disk called the Smith chart. This disk mirrors Surah 39:23, a self-referential corpus where every coordinate relates back to every other point within a single finite boundary. On the Smith chart, the outer boundary, where the magnitude of gamma equals 1, marks the limit of the system. Nothing enters from the outside. It is a closed universe where conjecture cannot penetrate the firewall. Because the field is closed, atoms do not form bonds by reaching into a void. They navigate this impedance space, moving through a finite set of states to find equilibrium. The grid is composed of two coordinate families. First, we have these concentric rings, the circles of constant resistance. This is the D10 field, the domain of the manifest, the particle, and the deterministic strike. Resistance tracks the tangible friction of a system. This aligns with the Musa archetype, the narrative of grounding. We see it in the staff striking the earth, or the body collapsing at the mountain. These are discrete resistive events that discharge energy into a fixed physical outcome. Crossing these circles are the vertical arcs of constant reactance. This is the I9 field, the domain of the wave, the witness, and the orbital. Reactance is energy stored and returned rather than spent. This maps to the Isa archetype, the raised field. Here, energy is not grounded out or lost to entropy. It is held in the unseen, circulating through the system as a continuous, non-dissipative wave. Every chemical bond sits at the intersection of these two orthogonal forces. It is the precise coordinate where particle resistance meets wave reactance. At the exact center of the chart, gamma equals 0. This is the matched load, the point of zero reflection. Here, the system absorbs all incoming energy without pushing any back. In chemistry, this represents the covalent bond, as seen in oxygen or nitrogen. In our topological map, this is the obd state, total submission to the command, where the observer becomes a perfectly matched conductor for the signal. The far left edge represents the short circuit, where the signal reflects 100%. The incoming wave is thrown back, completely inverted in phase. This absolute rejection is the ionic bond. In a lattice like sodium chloride, electrons are not shared. They are pulled to opposite poles, creating a rigid tension. This mirrors the Iblis archetype, the short circuit of total reflection, where the command is rejected and phase inverted. The boundary of the disk represents metallic bonding. Here, the electrons form a delocalized sea, a standing wave shared by the entire collective across the rim of the field. A molecular bond is a mathematical measurement. It tracks how much of the command a specific geometry reflects back and how much it successfully absorbs into itself. Chemical reactions are trajectories across this grid. Atoms move from one impedance state to another, tracing paths through the coordinate field. Exothermic reactions move inward, seeking the matched center. Endothermic reactions require an injection of work to climb toward the reflective boundary. The activation barrier, the hill a reaction must climb, is a local maximum of signal mismatch. It is the point of highest reflection, where the system is most out of sync with its destination. A catalyst navigates this mismatch. It functions as the 1912 grip, the ultimate impedance matching operator. The catalyst provides a new geometric path. It guides the reactants through a topological spiral that avoids the high reflection barrier, allowing the reaction to proceed without a catastrophic expenditure of energy. Catalysis is the chemical application of the chakra. It manipulates impedance to achieve structural transformation without triggering the destructive forces of total signal rejection. Phase transitions occur when coordinates jump collectively. When ice melts, a rigid D10 lattice collapses into a fluid probability cloud near the center. Boiling scatters that cloud back to the extreme reflective edges of the field, isolating atoms into states that no longer interact. In electrochemistry, the Nernst equation acts as a sensor, mapping the precise balance between resistance and reactance at equilibrium. Photochemistry operates on the x-arcs. A photon strike causes a sudden jump to a high reactant state. Fluorescence is the slow relaxation as the coordinate glides back down that curve toward the center. Thermodynamics at the macro scale is the sum of millions of micro-impedance matches as the collective system seeks its matched origin. The Smith chart provides the literal topological transform required to map this closed universe. The ancient manuscript contains the same mathematical instructions. It describes itself as methani, a term meaning self-similar and doubled. The doubling of the methani refers to the dual coordinate grid of resistance and reactance. The instruction to grip the book is the operational step to match impedance. When revelation is absorbed without reflection, the reader navigates the grid just as an electron does, seeking the 0 point at the center. This is the unified field. By applying the reasoning faculty, we recognize that electrons and information follow the same geometric laws. This realization allows us to wake up from tagut, the illusion that the physical world is separate from the command that sustains it. With the blueprint revealed, the choice is yours. When will you apply the 1912 grip and become the book of becoming?